Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. A little bit different once again, but I think it'll be good. A little update here on where we're at. We got the big block Chevy, father-in-law's big block Chevy here. It's a 434 cubic inch big block Chevy, 402 block base. Yeah, Ford and stroked. It does have factory cylinder heads on it, but they've been ported. They got bigger valves. But we got it built. It is finished. It is ready to go into his car. Just recap, we had that lifter that failed on this thing on the previous build and spun. The link bar broke, lifter spun, ground the cam down, parts or metal pieces everywhere. So this is where we're at. Got her all back together. We got a bigger cam in there. We got some nice Johnson lifters in there. And yeah, it's ready to go. We got the cherry picker out and I'm about to load it up on the truck. And then we're going to bring it over to my father-in-law's place or in-law's place. And we're actually going to start installing it into his Chevelle today. And we'll see how things go. If all goes well, we'll have that thing running today yet. We'll see. A few things I try to get ahead of the game on actually is the distributor. So he's got a MSD ready to run distributor on here. And underneath, you're able to actually, here, let's see if I can get it to work. Underneath there, you're able to put a little bushing in there to limit the timing on how much your mechanical advance does. And the biggest bushing that the MSD supplies is a 18-degree bushing, which here, show you what it looks like. Right there. So it's an 18-degree bushing, but I wanted a little bit more advance at idle. I wanted more than 18 because this thing's going to do about 35, 36 wide open. Minus 18 off of the 36, you're at 18 initial. And that's not enough. That's how we had it before, but it wasn't quite enough. So now I actually modified a little piece of metal, drilled a hole out, made sure the outside diameter was right. And yeah, we put that in there. So now we have a little bit less travel. So that should be able to get us a little bit more initial timing. A little less travel and still sit at that 35, 36 degrees wide open. And then I also limited the vacuum advance as well. Maybe I should have showed you that right away too, hey? Actually, all I did was I took that one bolt out or screw out and I put a little washer in there. That limits the travel of this guy. Sorry, just doing that with one hand. So it doesn't have as much travel back and forth. And that way, you know, running on pump gas, we don't also run into detonation issues at part throttle and not hear it because of the size of it. Excuse me, guys, because of the size of the engine and how loud it is. So, but yeah, we'll get to it. Maybe show you some footage of this thing getting put in. We'll see how that all plays out. Might just be in a hurry and just get it done. And brother-in-law Anthony is planning to help me out here. Well, we are not where that big block Chevy is. Not yet. We were there. And some unfortunate things have gone down. We got the engine installed. We got fuel pressure, or the oil pressure primed. And fired it up. Ran good. No oil pressure. Had to kill it. Ran it for only a few seconds. It wasn't very long at all. So we chased down the oil pressure issue, tried a different gauge, thought maybe it was that, yada yada, went through a bunch of different things, and yeah, we had to pull the engine back out. So we pulled it up as far as we could, dropped the pan, pulled the pan off, pulled the oil pump off, and it looks like when I put it together under the main cap, or on the main cap, it looks like when I put it together, the oil pump shaft, drive shaft, was not fully engaged into the oil pump itself. So that did not mesh. I don't know what to say. It was a misalignment, an oversight. So I'll learn from my mistakes. After you torque down your oil pump, go to the other side. Grab a primer. Let's see. Something like this. Stick it in. Turn the oil pump drive shaft. And make sure that it's good. make sure that it's not binding up or anything like that. And on this one, I failed to do so, and now I'm paying for it. Good thing is we didn't run it long at all, so that part's gonna be awesome. It was full of assembly lube, and I literally just finished building it, and we put it in the car. So it's not like it's been sitting for a year, everything dripped off, and everything was dry. It was literally fresh, ready to rip. So I'm not too worried about anything else on that engine. So waiting on an oil pump drive shaft to come in. And once we got that, we'll go over there, we'll swap it out, get that thing put back together, and we should be good to go. We'll fire it up and hopefully get some oil pressure out of the deal. More bad news on my side, of course. I'm working on a 5.3 over here. It's an aluminum block, the one for my truck outside. And got all the bearings for this unit. Cam bearings are installed, test fit the cam. That's all working good right now. But yeah, main bearing clearance, not good. I got some Speed Pro rings. I got some Speed Pro bearings, what I use. It's the 152 M1X. And yeah, no bueno. We're at 5 thou on number 1, 47 10,000s, 18 10,000s, 51 10,000s, and 45 10,000s. So too tight. Might have been a 17 actually. Too loose, too loose, too loose, too loose, too tight. Measured the crank out, obviously to get my bearing clearance, but I mean crank is within spec. Measured out the housing, the main housing, and we're at 2.751 inches across the board. And yeah, so I actually messaged my machinist there, just ask him if he's seen this issue before with some Speed Pro or maybe other brands as well. And he just replied saying that he calls them COVID parts, and he's got 3 sets sitting on the shelf that are the exact same junk as this. So not good. So now I gotta order another set of main bearings and hope that they were actually made correctly. I haven't checked the rod bearing clearance on this engine yet, but I'm going to. And another little trick I want to point out for your DOD, got your 4-cylinder shutdown junk. You can see I got some plugs into here. Instead of putting a different cover on with the O-rings to seal it up, I actually got some plugs, and instead of ordering some special plugs, guys on the line were talking about getting some, getting a wheel bearing. I think it was an A37 wheel bearing, and then you pull those rollers out and you can tap them in. Our local shop did not have one, but they cross-reference it to this bearing. In case any of you guys are wanting to try the same thing. And yeah, cut it out. The rollers that are in here, they're tapered. They slip in, you hammer it in the rest of the way, done. Old galley, plugged off, done. So yeah, pretty cool on that side. Cam bearings good, main bearings, got to get some main bearings coming. So there's a bit of a delay there again. And yeah, and then Big Block Chevy waiting on that oil pump drive shaft. So we'll update you when we got some new progress being done, I guess. All right, got another update for you. Got the short block on the LS all together. I got the pistons on there. That came off of a older 5.3. This one had the valve relief style deal. That's what it came with. I weighed this piston versus the other piston, and they were within 4 grams of each other. So figured, screw it, we're gonna throw these in there, bump the compression up a little bit more. I got the truck Norris camshaft installed. I got it degreed in, and it's sitting at 106 on the intake center line. So that's looking good. It didn't actually give me the specs on the cam card for that, but in case you're wondering, that's at least where it's installed at if you do a dot to dot. Also got a new 4X sprocket on there because the other one had the cam phaser deal. And then I also put on a new tensioner, a different style. This one here doesn't have the spring style. The other one that came with this had the spring style. And then yeah, it's a HD timing chain that I put on there as well. I got all brand new LS7 lifters in there. And yeah, short block is good to go. So working on the oil pump setup right now. Got to clean this up a little bit more yet, but show you what I did on the outlet side here. I did a little bit of porting. So from the factory, there's actually like a really big lip on this edge here, and I basically just smoothed that lip all out, clean that up so it's a nice smooth transition going in. I did a little bit of cleanup on the inlet side, but not too much. So I gotta wash this stuff up. I also made myself a small little shim here, little washer. This one measures about 55 thousandths of an inch. Just gonna put it in there, just bump up the pressure a tiny bit. You know, springs, I don't know how old it is already. Just maybe compensate for a little loss of tension on that spring. Should be good there. But yeah, so I gotta clean this up, get the oil pump on it, and then I'm going to clean up the cylinder heads. We are putting on the 862 heads, a little bit tighter chambers than what the 799s are that originally came on this deal. So I'm tightening up the chamber. I'm gonna lap the valves in, clean the heads up, and then we're gonna put the heads on it, and then we're gonna go from there. All right, man, things take time, hey? Here we go. We got the old pickup here in the garage. We got the engine done. We got this dirty truck, man. Woo, she needs a bath, real bad. Got it in here ready to pull the engine out, but this one here is done. Well, it's done as far as I could anyways right now. I'm gonna use the timing chain cover off of that one, the valve covers off of that one, the intake, everything's gonna come off of that one, swapped onto here. So that's why she's sitting like she's sitting. But other than that though, it's done, ready to go. So we're gonna yank that engine out and get this thing swapped out. All right guys, got the old one out. Got all the parts stripped off of here that I needed for the other one. And just about to throw her in. So it's coming together good so far. Everything on this side should be all checked out. I got the exhaust a little more free flowing. And yeah, we're good to go. So we're gonna drop this thing in and keep her going. All right guys, it is now 11 p.m. Finally got the engine in the truck, and I got it primed with oil. So this thing is actually ready to test fire and see if it fires up on the first go. I changed thermostats to a cooler thermostat, but the O-ring didn't seat properly in the thermostat housing, so I had to drain the coolant, fix that. I had a leak at the back of the intake on the valley pan. What I did was, this is my bad, this is something stupid that I overlooked. I laid down the gasket that's meant for the other style of valley, the valley cover, and this one's got these stupid bosses on here, and it curves. The other one curves too, but it doesn't have these bosses on it. So what was happening is the gasket just seated to here. So I mean, you can see there's a big gap there. So needless to say, I most definitely had an oil leak back here. It ran down the transmission to the back side and on the ground. Good thing I was just priming it and trying to build some oil pressure. But yeah, so I pulled the intake off again, fixed that, swapped out the plates, the one that I had on the old engine. Yeah, that was just my bad. That was just something I overlooked. That was not very smart, but whatever, it happened and it's fixed. So all the problems should be fixed. I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up right now for the first fire on the tune that I had in it before. I'm not changing anything on the tune right now. I'm just simply gonna fire it up, see if it runs, build some oil pressure. Lifters will probably tick a little bit until they fill up, and then I'm gonna let it run for a little while and get the coolant level right. And if all goes well, no other issues come up, I can take this thing to work tomorrow instead of riding my bike. So that'd be lovely. So let's actually do this right now. All right. A little bit nervous here, guys. This is crazy. Oh, fired up right away. Look at that oil pressure. That's dynamite. Your little lifter tick going on. Not too bad. No additional leaks coming down. Perfect. Well, I'm going to let this thing run warm here for a little bit, guys, and get that coolant level working properly, and then yeah, we'll touch you know what, I'll leave this one off here. It's running, it's alive, I gotta tune it, so thanks a lot for checking it out.